Content Catchup.
Sorry, everyone. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, you'll only start getting video from this point because, look, it happens to the best of us, but Barks forgot to press record.
Trust us, that was a great intro chat. So head to Spotify, head to Apple. We'll use this as our advantage. Jump on to wherever you listen to your podcast, non-video, and enjoy it. It could be our best.
We're going to jump into some content now. We're not going to try and redo that intro. Barks, what have you been watching this week?
What have I been watching? So I'll share my screen, Jules.
Yeah, do that.
This one probably doesn't need sound, but I want to talk about interviews this week.
Okay.
Might sound like a bit of a
What
boring...
about interviews you want to talk about?
Bit of a boring topic, but South Melbourne Phoenix. Can you see that? Have I shared the right screen?
Yeah, I think so.
Twitter? You see Twitter? Yeah.
Yep, I can see Twitter.
So... Let me just move my mic over here. So, South Melbourne Phoenix, NBL team, for those that don't know. I noticed during the week, I think they try to do interviews a little differently and just in terms of where they do it. So, I saw this during the week. They're currently in Sydney, I think. They can't be in Melbourne, obviously, but they did just a quick Six Man of the Year nomination to 3 of their players, just asking who they think should be the 6 man, and it was done in a car, so whoever's in the front seat is just interviewing like normal. And that made me remember that during the season, I've noticed a few interviews from the South Melbourne Phoenix where they try to do things a bit differently. So this one was Ryan Brokoff's first game. For those that don't know, he came from the Dallas Mavs, so sort of a big deal. But instead of just the normal interview style, they're walking down the hallway pre-game. Sort of you bump into the opposition players. They're essentially just going out to the court. But I think what this does, Jules, and they've done it with a few other examples as well, on the bench. So hallway, bench are the 2 sort of examples I want to talk about. But I think this just makes it a lot more natural and comfortable for the players. And when you get comfort for the players, it equals better interviews.
Yeah.
I just think it's like a good little thing. You don't have to worry about like... So they do the typical stand-up interviews where you don't see the host, and I think there are positives and negatives. Like, I don't think the walking interviews, as I'll call it, works for more serious interviews, but I just appreciate the walking down the hallway one and the bench one because I can send you the links, Jules, but they just sound a lot more comfortable, and I think we sort of just get used to what an interview is, and it becomes a bit stale and a bit same when you just do these off-camera interviews and the players just sound like it all feels a bit rehearsed to me. What do you think? Are you a fan of it? Like, do you think this looks funny? I think what you do need is a good host, though. So not every team will have someone that's comfortable doing what this. I think his name's Sam for the Phoenix. So shout out Sam and Brock from the Phoenix, who I think are the 2 sort of organisers for this. But what are your thoughts?
I like it. You also need a cameraman that can walk backwards.
Yes, shout out. I think that is Brock. That he's done this well, actually.
No, I think it's really good. I'm all for what you said before about like making the players comfortable. Yeah. I think as soon as they're comfortable and in a space that they're more comfortable in, of course, you're going to get a better interview. And you know what? Like, change it up. It does make it feel more urgent to watch if it's something that's like, oh, they're walking out to the ground now and doesn't feel like it's pre-recorded or whatnot. Like, it does feel a bit more urgency, because with a lot of interviews, like let's face it, you can just sit back and like, I'll consume this whenever I want to, but like that gives it a sense of this is happening on game day, we're ready to go.
That's a really good
and it's also I guess like the other thing is if he's genuinely walking out to do his warm-up, it's better than pulling them aside going, hey, we need 5 minutes, rather than like, hey, you're on the way, let's go, we can do this on the way. And that's it.
And that's the other factor. I'm glad you said that, because that's the other factor as well. Like, game day, you don't have to... So, back to your first point, you don't have to worry about putting aside when you're going to put out this video. You do it straight away. You don't have to worry about putting overlay, so it feels more natural. It feels less rehearsed. And then to your second point, exactly, you don't have to worry about getting Ryan Brokoff when he arrives from America, wherever he came from. He's literally just part of his normal routine walking out to the court. You catch him there, put a mic on him there, and it's done. It's just smart.
I think it's very smart. Good use of time, good use of the environment as well, because people see the court, they see the whatever the field may be, right? Like they see that so often, but taking them to the places that they're not normally, I think is quite unique.
Even the bench as well. Like
the bench is a cool spot.
Even just seeing the players in the background, they're all, and these days you got to provide by the COVID, they're all like separated. They're all doing the right thing. The host isn't in a mask, but even the bench, seeing the environment, the empty sort of stands and I guess atmosphere coming through before the game.
That's it. It's a kind of maybe this is a good lead-on question and put you on the spot a little bit. But do you have any techniques that you kind of use to make players feel a bit more comfortable before they jump into an interview, so you do get a little bit more free-flowing conversation?
Probably just the easy ones of like chit-chat, not around what you're actually doing. So like just normal human talk about what's going on, like apart from the jobs we're doing. And also just, it sounds funny, like, because I was always told from the great man Strange, who sort of taught me in this world,
shout out,
to take as much time as possible. But I've found the better prepared you are to get your spot, to put the mic on them early and just jump straight into it straight away, so you don't have to stop and be like, all right, give me a second, I'm just setting up. And then the conversation just stops from the player and, say, the interviewer. They're probably two things that I try to do without thinking about. But I think this element of walking, this is going to sound strange, but I do think walking makes you more comfortable if you don't like doing these sort of things. Yeah.
It's like the old give a player whatever ball and they'll feel 10 times more comfortable because they've got something to do with their hands. I like that point though, and I think like one of the things I've done previously is that if I know I've got to interview X person next week, let's say, I'll make sure to touch base with them, not about the interview, but just get some face to face with them. Like whether it's passing in the hallway, just say hello, drop them a text. Like it seems annoying, but then when you get to the point, you're like,
they feel like they're talking to someone they know.
We've spoken before.
Because that comes.
The other one.
Sorry. No, I was going to say.
No, you go.
Because that comes across in these Phoenix examples. I think his name's Sam. I apologize if that's the wrong name. But you can tell that if that was someone that didn't know the players and the players weren't comfortable, that would come across. And these felt like. These didn't feel like that.
I also think like it sounds a bit creepy and creep warning. But like just check out their social media before you talk to them.
True. Yeah.
And see what they've been up to. Like just make an effort to kind of like see what they've been posting on their story or what they've been following. Like you get an idea, and that way, at least when you're sitting there in dead time, you can be like, oh, have you seen this? And like pretend you don't know, and they'll be like,
Don't be too obvious. Don't be like, I saw on the 23rd of April that you went to the theme park. I like theme parks. Like, just there's a middle ground there, but good. It's a good point.
What's your favourite ride? Do you want to go together?
I saw you and your partner. I saw you and your partner posing at this nice sunset on the 8 p.m. on the 24th.
And absolutely don't rock up to where they are on their social media. Don't just be like, oh fuck, they're here, quick.
Or you just lie. Like I live in Brunswick as well. We might be close. Anyway, that's what I noticed during the week. And shout out to the crew at the Phoenix, because I think it's good that they're pushing the buttons and even just taking advantage of being away in Sydney currently in their, we'll call it a little hub. That the media people do travel with the players, so why not take that opportunity to flip the camera around and just ask them a few questions? Smart.
Yeah, love it. Is it? It's finals for NBL at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, started 2 nights ago.
Lovely. Well, we'll keep an eye on that then.
So try to beat that, Julian. Bring it on.
Oh fuck, Michael. My turn to share the screen, eh? All right,
go for it.
Let's see if we can get this working. All right, so I mentioned off the top of the show that I've been watching a fair bit of hockey lately, and I've been focusing on the Bruins because they're my team. Going to do a bit of a deep dive, not this week, but I want to find out who's in charge of their social, because it's got incredible theming. Like,
God, I love their colours. Their
colours are great, but they just play on it so well. Like they really make that yellow and black stand out against that white.
Yeah.
Which it could be a lesson for the Tigers.
Ooh. You're right though. Like everything pops. Like the yellow helps, but they've obviously. It's almost like they want it, like just scrolling this. They're already one of those brands that you look at it straight away and you can. I know this sounds stupid because it's their branding and it's their logo on half the things, but you can tell it's the same sort of people that are putting these together.
Yeah. It feels very much like consistent, which is cool. For those just listening and not watching YouTube, we're just having a scroll through the Boston Bruins Instagram page, and what they've done with a lot of their graphics, they desaturate the player and they make the yellow on the uniforms really stand out, basically. Two things I want to call out, and I posted one of these in our story on social media, but their game day graphic, a bit of sound going on there, but like really cool animation for their game day graphic.
It's insane.
Everything's moving. So just animated in like the bear, in the Bruin, I should say. I think a Bruin's a bear. Anyway, the bear in their logo is like animated and screaming, and there's this big roar that comes up. Nothing like crazy. I mean, it's a cool animation, but it's just really well put together. So I want to start off with this, Barks. I know we toyed with the idea of game day graphics being animated at the start of this year for Carlton, and we kind of leaned away from it. Essendon does some slide animation on theirs. It's one of the teams that I know in the AFL that does it. But what are your thoughts? Is it too much for a game day graphic, or do you think it's something that more clubs will start to do now as a point of differentiation?
I think it's like, I do think it has its positives and negatives. Like, I personally just admire it. Like, I really enjoy it. I don't know if using the same, like if you saw that every game, say they're in a playoff series and every second day you're seeing this, or every third day, I don't know if it becomes too repetitive. But then again, like, I don't know, like that main picture is the main focus. If you change that, then the whole sort of look might change. I don't know. It really depends how much they're changing, and how difficult it is to change, because that's the other thing my mind straight away goes to.
Let's have a look. I think it's pretty much the same every time. Yeah. But like, counteract that, right? Like, we don't change our game day graphics every week. So do people get sick of seeing them? So I don't know. I think it brings the information together in like a really kind of cool way.
Yeah. It also, I'm not listening to it with the sound, but I think you tweeted about this during the week. I think it brings that energy with the sound and the movement. So like you sort of want to bring excitement to game day, obviously, and something that this does that still graphics don't do is bring that sort of energy to a post.
Maybe it's one of those things that will just become like, or maybe it's good for special rounds rather than every week. Like, you look at your theme rounds, or when you do make playoffs or finals, and you go, this is when I'm going to put a bit more effort into what I'm doing.
What I will say, last point on this, if you're moving on to something else, but last point on this, sometimes I'm just going to be blunt. Who cares about if it's repetitive or if it works or doesn't? What I like is that someone clearly, the designer or the designers of this have clearly pushed their, not pushed their limits, but they've just had fun with it and tested what works. And like, if that, at the end of the day, if that makes them sort of think, shit, this looks good, then who cares? Like, it's worth it.
All for it.
Yeah,
I agree. Like, there's a point where, like, if they've got the template right, and each week it's literally just changing a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
That's no different to anything else. Like, in my head, anyway.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. The other thing that they did, and I'm on the fence about this. These videos are great. Bucks, I might shoot you one of these links so you can watch while we do it. I'm just going to find the right one that I was watching last time. I think it's this one. Sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's this one.
Gonna save the page.
Copy a link. I'll just shoot it to you via Microsoft Teams. So before each playoff game, the Bruins made this small hype video, which encapsulated a couple of things. Like, it had some highlights from the game before, had like a brief summary of what happened, and like it was a state of play. Basically, it's like, this is where we left off, this is the things to look forward to, this is where we're playing, da 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 da. And for this particular one, I believe they were going back to TD Garden, which is their home rink. So they focused around the fans coming back and supporting the Bruins. So give it a watch, Barks, and let me know what you think.
Shot taken, caught, and covered.
All right.
So
we just watched that.
I thought it was a bit of like a fucking like a war movie at the start with that soundtrack.
It's very dramatic, very heavy. They've clearly gone down the path of we're going into battle type of theming, which is fine. Like, it's playoffs, right? Like, got to have a bit of energy about it. I just think it's a good use of, obviously on a game day, and you know more than me, but you get all this footage behind the scenes that you just never fucking use.
Yeah.
And they've just pieced it together in this nice little, 30-second to 40-second clip that gets people in the mood, reminds them why they're coming to the game. And I don't know, if I watched that before a game, I'd be pretty hyped.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I think my favourite bits, like you said, they are and they always will be the vision that they capture. So, like, I think I'd assume hockey would have the videographers courtside, because I think you could make this a lot more personal, even though some of the shots from the broadcast are very cool and very good that you wouldn't get from your camera. I would have loved to see if they had any vision, exactly the same, but just replace it with your vision from courtside or ringside, or whatever they call it.
I'm not too sure. Maybe they're under like similar restrictions where they can only film a certain amount, but I think it's similar to basketball, if I'm not incorrect, where they, at basketball you can have your own commentators, like the Hornets have have their own. I think it's that, and that's where you get that great commentary from.
Yeah, then that's a very good point, because that brings the whole, you are part of the Bruins, like it's not just a random ESPN commentator.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I think my only thing with that would be like they're doing it for 7 games every 2 days or something like that. Yeah. So it just might get a bit too much. But I guess, I like the energy it brings.
Yeah, I like you said, repurposing game day footage is. I think it's worthwhile, because as you said, some of it just gets lost. But maybe you could simplify this and literally make it a 10-second video of quick cuts of purely your footage. Yeah,
that's a good point. And maybe that's something they'll, once they listen to our show, they'll be like, fuck, you're right. You're actually fucking right. All right. So, Bucks, that's where we leave it. I've got 2 small other bits of content I would like to make mention of.
You better bloody get on with it then.
Okay, mate. 1 second. I found one that is not typically sports, and I'm just going to try and bring this up. Bucks, I don't know how much TikTok you watch or you've been watching lately. Can you give me an indication?
I was going to say, you pausing for an answer. On average, maybe.
Okay, look, you're taking
15
too long. Have you
hour?
seen the Adult Swim soundtrack that's been trending?
No.
Okay, so background to this for anyone that's like Barks and not like myself and spends an hour a day on TikTok.
Has some self-control.
Adult Swim was after Cartoon Network finished back in the day, it would have this switch and it would go to Adult Swim, which was when cartoons like Family Guy, and that would start playing on the channel. So it was like adults cartoons, not like fucking drawn porn, like just adult cartoons, right? Minty, if you're listening, this is for you.
Jesus.
So on TikTok at the moment, there's this massive trend where people are like doing these videos and with like a few little comments, and they're going, like motivational comments, like not everything is what it seems. And then they do some sort of transition and the little Adult Swim logo pops up, which is square brackets AS, basically. A lot of creativity at the moment. Now, normally, Barks, I fucking hate politics. I think they're the dumbest idiots in the world. But I've got to give a shout out here, because the Australian Labor Party and whoever is in charge of their TikTok has nailed this, because they've jumped on this trend. And I'm going to share my screen now.
The usual part of me would complain about this, turning this podcast into a politics show, but Hey, it's called the content catch-up, so...
It's called the content catch-up. Barks, I think you need to watch this with sound on as well so you get a full appreciation of what the sound is because it's a good song.
Okay.
I just think it's a very clever way to jump on a trend. Now, for everyone watching at home, we'll put the link in our content spreadsheet with a non-sport kind of bold color. But I would hate, like I said, no political affiliation to this, but I really appreciate brands, sports teams, whatever, that can communicate to a different audience in the way that they're currently communicating. And I think this simplifies the message enough while also like poking fun at a trend. So
yeah,
to me, regardless of what the content is, smart execution.
I agree. I would not have known what that would have been about, and I would definitely not have watched it if you didn't link me at. But as you said, it's about being switched on and around what the current trends are. So well done.
And 100,000 views, if you don't mind. So that also helps.
It's funny that a politics party or politicians are on TikTok though, just as a clean slate. That's quite funny.
Well, it's better than bloody Gladys Berrig, whatever her name is, bad tweet of watching Origin 4 hours before the fucking game starts.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God, do you?
I don't know much about NRL anyway.
Mate, it's on Twitter. It's like, I would love to see your Twitter algorithm one day because yours must be just like you and Darren talking to each other. That's all you see.
You can talk. You and Rose commenting the same shit on every tweet. Just let me be. Let me tweet. Hashtag let me tweet.
I tweeted this the other day at Barks, but it's amazing. Like the world could be burning down. And I do really appreciate this. Like there could be a grade 5 hurricane outside the door.
There was.
But as long as the basketball was on, you and Darren would just be tweeting about that. And that's it.
As I said to you in response, perspective is everything. And if you don't have that side interest / passion, then, you know, it's good to have one is all I'm saying. But thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
You're welcome. All right, last one I'm going to bring up and then we'll get on with life.
Your content have been going for 3 hours. I'm going to have to break up this recording. Or just break up. Get on with it. Seriously, get on with it.
Okay. Here we go. Our friends at Miami Marlins, just a nice little video. Hey Siri, take us to the Marlins game is the quote. And my Siri's just gone off. But just a nice little edit to get people excited about going to the game again. Bit of action and then some crowd shots, some celebrations,
very hot
personality, quick little edit. I think it's just well executed. That's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, nice. From what I can see, there's plenty of skill in that edit. Well done.
Yeah,
bit
of something for everything. And that's it, Barks. Now you can stop whinging about me talking about content on... Hold on, let me just check the show title. On the content fucking Catchup.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's something about starting with a phone or Google page that gets people intrigued. I don't know if you noticed that for content.
Yeah.
Like if you start with something
it's a bit of a trend at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, but like a trend that's been around for a while, in my humble opinion. Speaking of trends, a very trendy bloke by the name of Edwin runs the Social Sandwich, and he has a segment on this show called Easy Eddie's Tips. And we're going to go cut to another one that we haven't seen. But Jules, this week we're talking a bit about unique voice on socials and a bit of brand personality, aren't we? Because he actually had a dig at us during the week. I think I tweeted from our account saying that what did I do? I tweeted from my perspective saying I'm this or my view on this is da-da-da. And he basically said we shouldn't be talking like that. So, sorry, Edwin.
Well, he's gone for an interesting look here in this one. I think he's actually
bit too many layers.
A t-shirt, a jumper, then his like party shirt on top, which is signature Edwin, but then a beanie as well. What's going on here, mate? We need to talk about this. What are you?
We'll
you hot? You cold? Let's have a look.
That's true. What's his temperature in the room? Anyway, let's
I don't know.
Let's give it a watch and we'll respond.
G'day fellas, Edwin here from the Social Sandwich for just a bit of a conversation started this week. For me, I love when brands show a bit of personality. I've been tweeting about it a bit lately, just kind of trying to highlight how it's a good way for, to get engagement is by showing some personality, by being funny even. I think funny is such a good way to get likes, and it's just such an easy win. But I think the question that I've got is, how far is too far? Is it, if you're a brand, are you talking about the person behind the brand, the person managing the account? I think there's definitely a line between showing some personality and going, a bit more into, I'm the social media manager, I'm making a joke because I'm going on leave or whatever, versus making it all about the social media producer. So I just want to know like what you guys kind of do, and running a team page or a brand page, how personalized do you go, and how important do you think using a bit of humor is for brands? Cheers.
Gee, that was a nice one.
Thanks, Edwin. Very cheery.
That was a really good one.
This morning. Even though it's
Yeah,
not this
cheery
morning,
fella,
but
not a fucking grumpy bastard like normally.
you think everyone's grumpy.
Nah, I love Edwin.
All right, so what he's getting at there is the balance of the person behind the account / remembering you are the account, like you're talking on behalf of a sport team or brand. And he wanted to know from us, our perspective, how we balance it.
How far's too far?
Or how far's too far, yes.
I think the obvious answer that pops into my head as like too far, Harvey Norman, when the social media manager went rogue and was just like tweeting back at people
and responding,
that's definitely too far.
Yes.
Like, that's not helpful for anyone.
But I think like it's probably just all opinionated. I guess that's why I asked for our bloody opinion. But I feel like I can't remember a time where I've disagreed with a bit of humor too often. So I think if you're gonna personalize it and maybe bring it back to the social media manager, more often than not, I personally can appreciate that. But again, there obviously have been times where it doesn't go too well.
I think like the point with that might be like, what you and I find funny is completely different.
Yeah, that's what's hard
to each other, right? Yeah, but then like, do you then maybe come up with a personality for the brand of like what the brand finds funny, rather than letting your social media manager dictate, all right, this is funny because I think it's funny, or like being a smart ass is funny because I think it's funny. Whereas like it might not resonate well with your fan base either.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something you need to take into consideration.
So you decide with everyone that's managing the account, what is our sense of humor, even if it might not be Michael's sense of humor, what is our sense of humor? Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And I think that also then takes it a little bit out of the hands of the social media manager as an individual to like always be funny. If you have a group of people that work on things and it's like, okay, we know that we're going to play in this space. Like when someone tweets at us, we're going to tweet back with emojis or like a GIF or whatever it might be, and make that effort, as opposed to like trying to go out of our way to be funny.
Yeah.
As well, I think like that's the other thing.
It's a really hard one actually, like when like just the balance of it, because like one day it might be the game day and you're smashing your team by 50 points and you're having the time of your life, you're tweeting whatever, you might be like, oh, you're just like trying to get engagement from fans, and then the next something terrible might happen and you might have to be like, club statement, is fine.
Exactly, yeah.
Like it's so tricky.
I think that's where the good teams are really good about it, and it's hard. Like it does take a lot of work to get to the point where your fans know that regardless of the result, regardless of what's happening on field, this is your tone, this is your voice, this is what's going to happen. And going back to, I think we spoke about it like in one of our first episodes, but the Miami Marlins have got that. Like,
and Phoenix
their fans know that. The Phoenix Suns as well. Like they've got that. Like, all right, we're going to be funny regardless of what's happening on the field.
Yeah,
and expect that from us.
And I really like that game day. Like Miami Marlins is a good example. I think your example, episode 3 or something it was during a loss.
Yeah, exactly, and handling it. But yeah, you've got to be able to confidently do that and be prepared for the backlash as well a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, and that's where maybe working as a team to define like the limits of how far you push it sometimes, how safe you are.
Yeah.
kind of comes in.
I think it's one. It will always be a conversation because there's no real answer to it, and that's what's sort of intriguing about it. But it's good to hear our expert analyst, Edwin.
Analyst, you idiot.
I was going with analysis from Edwin, but I forgot that part.
But again, so Edwin has a lot of good tips, and if you're not already following him, make sure you do. He at Social Sandwich, or just search Social Sandwich across Instagram and Twitter. And he also has, he runs little classes for anyone that's interested in learning a little bit more about social media, and you'll find all those links on his channel. So make sure you do check him out. We do fight a lot with Edwin on social media. You'll see that. But he's got a lot of good knowledge that you should tap into. So make sure you do.
It's part of his brand's voice, if you will.
Yeah.
And Edwin,
arrogant old man.
If you're listening to this, turn the heater on or turn it off. Make a decision. Wear the party shirt, but maybe turn the heater off a bit more if you want to wear it. But thank you. Apart from that.
All right, Bucks. I think you're up here. Your time to shine.
Back to back. Who wrote this one?
What do you got?
I didn't have any. I don't have a great story for the egg of the week. No, I can do better than that. Hang on, give me a second. No, I don't. All right, everyone. I'm just gonna jump straight into it because it's our favorite segment. So, egg. No, what are we gonna say, Jules? I don't know. Have you got?
Let me tell you what I've.
Maybe
Let me tell you.
You're better at these.
Let me tell you. So, obviously, we've been in lockdown here in Melbourne, and that means we've gone from a 5K radius to then a 10K radius. Been doing a lot of walking around Coburg. You might have seen me. Shout out if you do see me. But one of my neighbours I've discovered has a front yard little farm with some chickens in it, Barks.
Okay.
So the other day, I jumped the fence and I got myself some eggs of the week.
Did you steal some eggs from the chickens?
I call it borrowing.
Okay. We've got chickens next door, actually, so I might
Keith?
some myself.
Does Keith have chickens?
No, sorry, behind us. You got to stop talking
What's
about
their
Keith.
name?
I've never met him. Anyway, we're getting off topic here.
Anyway, do you want to go first for your egg of the week?
Yeah, I bloody want to go first. I don't know if we've got the same one here. Did you also have Cripsy's one?
No. I've literally put mine in the fucking run sheet.
Wow. Yeah, you do actually. All right, my egg of the week. Submitted by Cripsy. The great man. Follow him on Twitch. Follow him everywhere. Just a good man. He sent this and I'll share our screen. 360 Fox Footy 360. So, bit of a funny snippet here. In fact, you've watched this, haven't you, Jules?
No, I haven't. So I might bring it up.
Okay. We'll go to your mentions in Twitter and give it a watch. But background.
Yeah, I might just watch it on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Might be easier.
Background listeners. Fox Footy 360 show. David King is trying to give us an example of how even the top 8 are this year in the AFL sides, and he basically gives us a funny stat which he explains in this on Twitter because someone sort of ats him and gets him to explain it because everyone's having a laugh at his expense. But he basically says that for the times that the top 8 teams have played each other, the record is 18-18, and basically unless there's a draw, it can't not be equal. And he's just misworded it a bit because the hosts sort of go along with him, and I think Robbo, not that that's saying much, is he responds saying, "Oh, when you say it like that, that's incredible how even the competition is." But we'll give it a listen.
I'll have a watch now. Yeah. To be fair, Robbo could have been the egg of the week as well.
But if you look at top 8 teams amongst themselves, so top 8 v top 8, so they're the games that we're hanging out for. We're craving for Friday night footy again this week. So top 8 v top 8, it's 18 wins, 18 losses. So they are the 50-50 games that we've been talking about.
How evens the season when you say it like that?
Well,
so basically, it doesn't matter how many times teams play as each other. One is a winner, one is a loser. So obviously, it has to be equal.
That's nearly as bad as you when you were trying to introduce Jeddah and you were like, 5 years ago to the day yesterday, 10 years.
See, I was saying to Elite, we were trying to figure out how I could have worded it, and I should have just said 5 days ago was the
10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary, or the decade ago, yeah. Anyway, don't bring this back on me. That's a pretty funny snippet.
That's a good one. Thanks, Cripsy.
Thanks, Cripsy.
All right, now for my egg of the week.
I'll stop sharing my screen, sorry.
We're staying in... have you noticed little Bird's joined the conversation? My little co-host.
He's been there a while. What's he staring at?
Yeah. The Adobe Audition recording spikes going up and down. Bernie. Good boy. All right, so my egg of the week is, I'm going to make sure, we're staying in Australian journal. Well, I use journalism very loosely here because I don't think this Peanut's a fucking journalist. I think he's just an idiot with a Twitter account. Andrew Bogut. Barks.
Well, he's not a journalist. He's a fucking former professional basketball player.
With a podcast now. So, good basketballer. We're not going to take that for him. But earlier this week, Victoria came out of lockdown, and obviously the Melbourne or the city is in different restrictions to regional Victoria due to the amount of cases and whatnot. And Andrew Bogut tweeted this. Only in Victoria can you go to a bottle shop, buy booze, then walk into a government-run injecting facility, shoot up, and finish up in a brothel, whilst at the same time being forbidden from visiting your friends and families or going to the gym. Now, none of this is fucking correct. Right? Like, so gyms and brothels, I believe, were open in regional Victoria because their restrictions are completely lessened. But in Melbourne, that's not the case. Like brothels, gyms, I think nightclubs are still closed, whatever it might be. And I'm just thinking, you're an egg because you're flooding the internet with incorrect information, and people who aren't willing to go out and do their own research are going to think that that's gospel, and you're just going to cause more trouble. So, yeah, egg.
That's what I don't get with people like Andrew Bogut. Like I feel like he just tweets, and I think he'd happily say this to whoever asked him, but I feel like he just likes causing a stir on Twitter. But I don't get that, because it's a good point that the people with a platform like Bogut has, if he says stuff like that, then people are just going to believe it anyway and just carry on. So yeah, fair enough. You could probably find something weekly from Mr. Bogut Twig.
He's yeah, I think like people just gotta be more careful with shit like that.
Yeah. Nothing to do with that, Jules. You know, Andrew Bogut was the first person to start his own podcast to announce his own retirement.
That doesn't surprise me because probably no one fucking cared.
Well, they did, but yeah, it's just an interesting little thing from Mr. Bogut. Don't know why I keep calling him Mr. Bogut.
I don't know either. Are you trying to suck up to him or something?
Nah, suck an egg. All right.
Suck an egg. We got a boss? You got a boss?
What's that? I've got a... Actually, we sort of introduced an egg boss last week, and I'm going to go down that same path. So I'm sort of bossing Nikola Jokic for winning MVP during the week. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Was that completely out of left field?
No, he's the favourite. So Nikola Jokic was picked number 41st overall in the draft, whenever he was drafted, which is pretty bloody impressive. I think it must be a record of being drafted that low and winning an MVP. But someone put out during the week, and it's a bit of a boss to Jokic, but it's a bit of an egg because he was actually drafted so low that he was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. So if you can see down the bottom, Nuggets current selection. This is live, like when it happened. Nikola Jokic, there you go. He's picked so low that there was a Buddy food ad on. So, don't know what you want to call that, Jules boss egg, but...
Taco of the week.
I thought it was quite funny. Taco.
I think that's great. Also, what the hell do Americans eat? Was that a taco wrapped in another taco?
It's a funny, the detail you pay attention to, but I think so. It looks like it, yes. It doesn't really surprise me. There's it's like a bigger taco in a taco.
Fucking Americans, man. Well, since we're going egg boss, I've got egg boss for you.
Wow.
Let me bring up my screen. One of my favourite accounts.
So we're going to have egg of the week, boss of the week, and then egg boss of the week, and then boss egg of the week.
No, let's not complicate it. Let's just... You would. All right. Tom Brown translator, one of my favourite things.
Okay.
So Tom Brown, God bless him, your mate. This is the egg part of it.
Bit close to home, this tweet.
Tom Brown, former Collingwood football boss Jeff Walsh. This is a thread of tweets. Actually, it's not a thread because Tom Brown doesn't know how to make threads on Twitter. That's another thing. So Tom Brown's done 4 tweets in the space of 4 minutes, and here they are. Starts off with, Jeff Walsh will be on Blues Review. Another tweet. Matthew Pavlich will also be on the Carlton panel, and Graham Lowe. Full stop. More. Third tweet. Walsh, Pavlich and Lowe will join incoming President Luke Sayers. Full stop. And the final tweet. Former Collingwood football boss Jeff Walsh, former Dogs footy boss Graham Lowe, Fremantle great Matthew Pavlich, and incoming President Luke Sayers will conduct the Blues football review.
He's wrapped it all up in one to finish it off.
He's gone bang. It's like he's copying and pasting text messages as he receives them, tweeting them and going, "Oh fuck, there's more. Oh fuck, there's more."
That's great. Yeah.
So a bit of an egg there, but then Tom Brown translator screenshot this with the perfect amount of like showing their time on this, and it's just like, Siri, what's Tom Brown like?
He's an interesting man, isn't he?
He's an interesting man. So a slight egg boss, but Tom Brown translator, you're my boss of the week because you're just the funniest profile going around at the moment.
What have they said about that video? Scroll up.
There's a lot of TB and Kingy's stat here, but even more in TB's reaction.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but anyway, that's my boss of the week.
Thank you for bringing that to the table. That about does us, everyone.
Yeah.
Pleasure being with you on this Saturday morning, and I hope everyone's doing well. Like in Victoria, get out of lockdown and try to refine yourself. Do you like that? It was very very nice touch from me.
Are we going to add that to Live in the Grey as motivational chat?
Yeah, we can. But I don't know what I was going to say. Thanks, Bernie. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Bernie, you've been great. You've been on the show for about 15 minutes straight now, so I appreciate your support, and we appreciate everyone's support throughout the week. Find us on socials, YouTube, whatever you want. All right. Goodbye.
All right. Yeah, everyone, make sure you follow Edwin on social media. That's my last plug.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or that. All right. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.